This is Miami All Access.
Just kind of start us off first. Just kind of talk about, kind of recapping, the win, and then kind of what you guys are looking forward to this week.
Well, I mean, I think anytime you open up the season, most obvious thing is you're trying to get a win, but more importantly, you're trying to get a feel for, what are the things that your team has retained? Are they doing the things that you've taught them? And are they playing together as a group, and are they competing and giving effort, which is a given, which is what they should do. So as I looked at the game and had an opportunity to watch tape, I thought, from an effort standpoint, I thought our effort was good enough. Certainly, we had some breakdowns defensively, which you don't like to see, but it's sort of to be expected this early in the season. I thought our last 8 minutes of the game was probably the most disappointing part of the game for me, in that we just made some bonehead decisions and we didn't stay solid throughout the game. I was pleased with how we came out and we performed in the first 5 minutes of the second half. I thought we did a good job of that, which we had struggled with in the exhibition and our scrimmage. And so, all in all, I thought pretty good effort. I thought Eric Washington really played well for us, and I thought Chris Bryant brought very good energy for us as a group, and Giovanni and Sully, of course, made shots. And so for us, it's about getting better defensively and being solid, understanding scouting reports, and not breaking off from that.
Questions for Coach?
Talk about Will's defensive effort on Sunday. I thought he just did a great job of shutting down Hess.
Well, I mean, one of the things we talked about is obviously Hess could really shoot the basketball, and so anytime someone can shoot the ball that well, you're trying to get them to do things that they don't do maybe as well, and so we really wanted to make sure that he put the ball down on the floor, and if he didn't put it down on the floor, that he got contested shots, and there were a couple of possessions there early in the game. Sully really contested a three. We had Chris Bryant contested a three, and so you're just trying to be big on him, and I thought Sully did a pretty good job of staying locked into the scouting report, and it's hard when you're trying to take away a shooter like that, because he's got a little bit of an advantage in that he can put the ball down on the deck on you because you're just so up close to him, and there were a couple times he got going downhill on us, but all in all, I thought we made him work, and Sully did that. More importantly, that he did not have an easy game to where he was able to coast through, and he never got into a great rhythm, which was the most important thing. Okay.
So you guys got the win to start the season.
Okay.
What are some of your points of emphasis for the guys moving forward?
Well, one I talked about a little bit earlier is obviously we've got to be locked in defensively, so that it starts there on the defensive end, be locked in the scouting reports. Another thing, we've got to rebound the basketball. We've got to do it as a team, obviously, and we've got to be able to chase down long rebounds. We've got to be able to go to the free throw line and be productive. I think we took 34 free throws and we struggled from the foul line. So we've got to get that part of the game cleaned up, and then certainly turnovers. We've got to limit our turnovers. Far too many turnovers for us in that game, particularly in the first half, is where we really struggled. And then to get the guys to continue to play unselfishly, which I thought they did that, and really share the basketball.
You talked about the turnovers a little bit. You feel like that's something that you're playing so many guys, a lot of new faces yet, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of a couple of things. One, that we are playing a lot of guys, and that we probably haven't gotten in a great rhythm. But then the second thing too, we had some careless turnovers. Some that really you shouldn't have. Not if you want to be successful. You can play the game and you can have turnovers if you're playing a high possession game, but if you're going to have 17 turnovers, then you better doggone sure create a lot of turnovers. And if you're going to have 17 turnovers, I'd like for us to have 34 assists, because that means we're playing at a 2-to-1 clip, and then you're going to be good. And so we've got to get those turnovers down. I'd love for us to be around 8-9 turnovers a game. Then I think we're where we need to be. And of course, I always harp on it, but I like dead ball turnovers and not live ball turnovers.
Finding the minutes for so many different guys is probably your biggest challenge, obviously, going into the year. Do you see that working its way out as you make your way through the non-conference schedule?
Well, the human part of me says that it will work its way out of it. The coach part says that it's extremely hard, and so yeah, I really do believe that this may be a group that, depending on who the opponent, to take a football term, what personnel package we will use and who'll be there. And, and you're going to have guys that are always going to be there. But, you look at us in the 4 or 5 spot, and, of course, we played small that game. So, of course, you start Sully, but, we've got LJ, we've got Hawk, we've got Logan McClain, we've got Caleb, we've got Chris Bryant. And so, excuse me, and we have Josh. So there in itself, that's a lot of bodies. There's some versatility in there, and it just depends on what's going on and what is the style of play. And so the goal is to really get through the lineups, take a look, and then go from there. Excuse me.
Other than maybe LJ and Eric Washington, everybody else is kind of an interchanging piece, aren't they? I mean, even Zach doesn't necessarily have to be your point guard. You put Jared out there as one of the people.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. You look at, Eric's going to be the point. Look at LJ, he plays the 5 for us. He's going to roam. And then at that point, with Hawk, of course, Hawk is going to be 5. But at that point, it really does depend. I love the versatility. Now it's trying to figure out how does it all mesh together. It's like a pot of soup. See if I can, get a little flavor into that soup and put a lot of vegetables and, some meat in there and see what we have.
Evansville on Wednesday night, we talked about yesterday in the postgame. Obviously a very talented team. A lot of returners there.
Oh, man. A team that returns pretty much everyone intact. Marty does a terrific job. They have a very distinct way that they play in that they play motion. I call it old school from the perspective of when I was in college, that's what everyone did. You learned motion when you got to, if you didn't play it, you definitely learned it when you got to college, and everyone had motion packages, and they do a terrific job. They're very sound in what they do. They're good passers. They think the game very well. They don't get out of control, and they stay within themselves. And then they got a guy in Valentine who can really, really score the basketball. DJ, I want to say, averaged about 22, almost 23 points a game last year. One of the top returning scorers in the country. Coming back, played about 38 minutes a game last year, and he does it from all facets. He's not a guy that's just shooting the 3-ball. He's not a guy that's just sitting on the block. He's a guard that can put it down. He can shoot it. He can get to the free throw line. He does it in various ways. And so we have our hands full because, quite frankly, one of the neat things about playing motion offense is it's hard to scout in that they have some sets and things that they go to, but it's primarily guys that are reacting off of what's going on, guys that are using the screening opportunities, which their posts do a terrific job of setting screens and changing angles. And so you really have to be locked in, you have to be down in a stance, and you really have to be focused as a team because you have to defend them as a team. And quite frankly, the last 2 years when we played them there, we didn't play very well. And their offense was much better than our defense.
Another question I want to ask you about is the Cancun Challenge. I know it's a little bit down the line, but just something you guys are maybe trying to accomplish out of this whole tournament?
Yeah, if you know me, it's really down the line because I'm always just one game, the next game. But no, there's a couple of things. One, obviously we're getting a couple home games out of it, so I think that's a great thing. Then two, you go over in Cancun and you're going to face very good competition. But when you start looking throughout the course of your season, you start looking to the end of the season for the conference tournament. It's very similar in that you have to be able to play a game one day, be able to get back ready, get back to your hotel, do whatever, get prepared and be prepped and be ready to play a game the next day. So it's the closest thing when you play in a tournament. It's the one thing that's going to be very similar to your conference tournament. It's the only other thing that's going to be similar to playing in the NCAA tournament, although you're going to have a day in between there. But if we're able to be successful, get to the conference tournament, and depending on where you're seated, we've got to play multiple games or back-to-back games and be prepared and be ready to play. And to go back to your point earlier talking about our depth, that's where you really start, you hope that really pays off as you start getting to that point in the season. Your depth really carries you, and of course through the last part of the season and into the tournament. So I think it's something that is really going to benefit us, and I think it's going to be good for us, and it's something we can look back on at the end of the season as we go to head towards the conference tournament and draw from that.
Go ahead, Jack, if you have a question.
Okay. So you're new on the team this year. You had a pretty good game yesterday. How do you feel you fit in with the other team members so far? and how do you feel moving forward?
I feel like we mesh perfectly. I think Sully talked to you guys earlier about just how like we got together in the summer, did things off the court to build our chemistry, going out to eat, going on team retreats, just hanging out at each other's places. I think that stuff built like the relationships to make it easier for off the court. And I think it's starting to show. I think we played a lot better yesterday. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think we have great team cohesion. I'm just a piece to the puzzle.
Tell us about running this offense. Obviously, there's so many new faces that, some of the guys are just still learning the system. Is it tough at times to make sure everybody's in the right spot when you're out there?
I mean, definitely when you're putting in something new with new people. But I think our coaching staff is doing a good job of just starting to make things more simpler for us. I think at times, in October they were putting in stuff and at a fast pace. Some guys can't really receive that as well. I think since the games have started, they've seen how certain guys are starting to play, how certain guys are starting to receive detail. They're starting to make things more simpler instead of just making things more complicated for us. But overall, I think it's going well.
What do you know about Evansville?
I know they're a very unselfish team. I know they have one our coaches like to call him the dude. There's like the best players on each team. I think his name's Ballantynes. I'm not really sure yet. We talked about it today, but I know they have a really good player in Ballantyne. He's a guard. He can really go. Puts up a lot of shots. And they're just an unselfish team, and they're really built around him. So I feel like if we can contain him, not let any of the other guys get off, but mainly contain him, I think we'll have a good shot Wednesday. But it'll be a good test for us for sure. So.
Talk about defensive philosophy, because obviously defense was a lot better yesterday than it was against Edinburgh. Guys really, you have to take pride in it, I guess, and get out there and
correct.
Go at it.
Honestly, I'll be telling a story to you to say if we had like a defensive philosophy. I think really it's just energy. Just coaches telling us like, just get a stop. Don't be that guy, the weak guy, the weak link on the team. Handle your matchup, and things will play itself out. I think guys kind of took that personal, and I think as you see throughout the game, it was a lot of good one-on-one matchups, and everybody was able to guard their yard. And I think that like I said, that builds out throughout the team. So I think it was just effort and energy. Guys just kind of just not wanting to lose.
I know this is after Evansville, but how do you feel about the Cancun Challenge?
It'll be a good experience for us just to, go out the country. But I think it'll be a good chance for us to play against some good talent. I know we start out with Northwestern, and that's the Big Ten. We're going down there to win. It's a business trip, even though it's in Cancun. It's still a business trip. We're trying to win. I think it'll be a good experience for our team as well to play against higher level. But overall, I think it'll be a good experience for us.
Having sat out last year and now just having the first couple games under your feet, talk a little bit about that transition and how either easy or hard that's been for you.
It's definitely been easier for me. Sitting out was definitely one of the hardest things I ever had to do. But it enabled me to look at the game from the outside in. I've always played the game since I've been young, so I've been kind of just in the game, and being able to just to listen to what coach is saying and learn from what he would say. Being on the outside kind of just makes me understand it a little bit more. So when I can play now, I'm able to receive stuff and understand why we're doing things, how we're doing things. I'm able to pick up more. So yeah, I think that year, I think it was more so just better for me mentally. I was able to mature, get stronger, get faster, I was able to mature physically and mentally. So it was good.